I'm Naomi Judd. On today's show, they were strangers, united in their outrage about the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina.
It was horrible. People were living in tents on their lawn. We were feeding people living in their cars. Just lives in ruin, mile after mile after mile.
So they joined forces and found a rewarding way to help Katrina's victims rebuild their lives, one family at a time.
This should have been a godsend. It was like two angels were dropped in my front yard.
And she was told she'd never have a child.
We tried and tried and tried, and I lost my hope, I lost my faith.
But wait till you hear how her dream became a reality. It wasn't the stork that brought your baby. What happened? So cozy up with a cup of coffee, put your feet up, join me on an amazing journey. You're going to be glad you did. I'm Naomi Judd, and it's a brand new morning.
Every day's a new day. Every day's a new way to help somebody who needs somebody like you. There's a power you can pass along to heal a heart and make it strong. There's hope with every dawn. Every day's a new day.
Good morning. So good to see you. Oh, happy morning to you. I'm glad you're here with me. You know, a lot of us are so darn busy that it's kind of hard to even think about helping others outside of our own circle of family and friends. But you're going to see this morning just a little bit, just a pinch of time doing something that you love, something you believe in, could wind up helping everybody else. So the people you're going to meet today found out that the best part is they've actually gotten as much out of giving the folks they've helped. I call it the boomerang effect. And you're going to get a kick out of the first story, which proves that concept of paying it forward is very much alive and well. For Abel Delgado, the discovery that he was a musical prodigy at the tender age of 8 proved to be his salvation from a very lonely and poor childhood. Then as an adult, when he got a chance to help other underprivileged kids tap their musical talents, he grabbed it. Check out his story.
Wake up, good morning. 1, 2, ready, and. And hold. Music changed my life in so many ways. My parents were both immigrants from Mexico. Neither of them had an education beyond 5th grade. English was a second language to me. I got picked on quite a bit, especially in the lunchroom. It was just incessant, either because I was smart or because I was wearing just the wrong clothes. I was just always a target for one reason or another. So much of my life was really spent kind of being on my own and feeling out of place. 3rd grade, we started playing recorders at school, and I took the recorder home and I learned this entire song in one evening. We were going to work on it over the course of a couple weeks, and I showed up the next day and I played it for my teacher, and she was kind of shocked. And I think it was the first time that I actually felt important, and people knew that I mattered and I was a part of something. I guess music found me. It was the actual physical act of performing that really made something inside of me change and click.
All of us were like, oh, violin, violin. We're all hooked on playing, realizing, ooh, that's for me, that's for me.
Harmony Project means a lot to the kids who are in the program. They love music, but they don't have programs in their schools.
The kids that we work with have really difficult situations sometimes.
He knows what it's like to be a child in this type of situation, an underserved child.
If you're too short, if you sit on the edge, you can reach the floor. Magic. All right? Okay, let's do it again, a little faster. 1, 2, ready, see, skill. When I came into the Harmony Project, I was 23. Right now I'm 26. Started the first flute class at a community center and had a lot of ideas about maybe, the way the organization could grow.
I'd like to just introduce myself for those of you that don't know me. My name is Abel Delgado.
They were very gracious, and as a result of hearing my ideas, offering me the position of executive director. And in 2.5 years, the program has grown from under 50 kids to close to 300, operating budget from 80,000 to close to $500,000. We're not just giving them a chance to play music, we're really here to give them a chance to change their lives, their interaction with their families. We want them to think about going to college someday. So many of them say, I never thought that I would be able to play a violin. And then what usually follows that, and it breaks my heart every time, is I always thought classical music was for rich people. Right there, please. I'll give you 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. Raphael is a pretty neat student. I started working with Raphael in 2003. I was at this community center called A Place Called Home in Southeast Los Angeles. Pretty rough neighborhood. I saw something inside of him just really kind of develop. He was kind of close to failing his classes. Now he's a straight A student.
What I liked about the flute is that the music that I play is so fantastic.
I mean, I see myself in him in so many ways. I'm very proud of him. I know that he's going to do something really great with his life, and I feel honored to have helped that. Good. Is it possible for you to go from there to there in one breath? Okay, try it. 1, 2. Okay, that one has no direction. This whole area, open up, over there. The more kids we can bring in, the more kids we can touch, then the closer I am to doing what I was put on this earth to do. Now, clarinet and trombone, right here, now.
I'm hanging out with my girlfriends, my professional sidekicks. Two people who give more than they know to me. Dr. Dale Adkins, psychologist, and Rabbi Sherre Hirsch. Okay, I'm really inspired by that kid. I love that he said that he felt like he mattered. All of a sudden, he felt important, and he felt connected, and the faces on those kids.
You know, when we give to other people, we are enhanced, and our lives are improved, and we feel better, and actually, literally, our whole body chemistry changes. But the point is that when you give back, you are reminded that you are part of the human family.
Exactly.
And we are all connected. And when you teach someone, you give them something within themselves that then they take further and further.
What I tell my congregants in my synagogue is, no matter what you do, every day do an anonymous act of kindness. And one of my favorite stories is this woman who I adore. One day I said to her, "Where are you going? What are you rushing out of my office for?" She said, "Well, every Thursday I deliver challah, bread, so that on Friday night all the people that can't have it will have it." Well, I thought, that's a nice gesture. How long have you been doing that for? Oh, 30 years. 30 years.
And I happen to know that you deliver Meals on Wheels. You do that stuff. And sometimes you even cook it.
Well, I have a sense, and in our community we have a lot of people who sometimes get ill, as in every community. And right after the person is feeling a little better, people kind of drop by the wayside. So we try to keep feeding the family for months after, so that they'll always have a Friday night meal, a Sunday afternoon meal, and a few meals during the week. For the children, we find out if the kids are allergic, and it's anonymous. You just leave the food in the cooler, and you do your thing, bless it, and then leave. And it's incredible.
And it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to give all your money, you just give of yourself. Just one small thing. Just calling someone to wish them a good day or to feel well is the greatest gift.
I want to pick up on something you just said about how it changes our brain chemistry.
It does.
You know, I study this stuff. It actually releases all the good feel-good chemicals in the brain.
That's absolutely
the serotonin, dopamine, all those things that make us feel peaceful and ecstatic and blissful and everything.
Medically, it changes your chemistry?
Yes,
Medically changes your chemistry.
Do people know this?
Well, we will now.
Yeah.
The endorphins are released. When you do an act that is altruistic, your body changes. And just imagine, I mean, if you want to be really selfish about it, just keep doing a lot of good things for people, and you will feel better, and the world will be improved.
And some of the greatest philanthropists in the world live to be in their 80s and 90s, the Carnegies and all that. And I have to wonder, when I was studying this, my new book, Aging Gratefully, Facts, Myths, and Good News for Baby Boomers, I had to do a lot of research on this. So they live longer because it does change your body chemistry, and when it does that, it stimulates your immune system. That's why we physically mean it when we say, when you give, you get back.
What I really would love to have people understand is that you can do all these random acts of kindness within your family, and it's really a job of a parent to teach their children, to clothe their children, to educate their children, to take care of their children, and to show them, to model for them what it is to be kind. It is really not the job of the child to then take care of the parent or give back to the parent. Generally, if they're modeled, and if they've had a good model, they will do that ultimately. But a parent really doesn't need to ask their child to give back to them.
I would add to that, that being a grandparent's a unique position, because with Grace and Elijah, my grandkids, when it's time for Winona's Christmas, birthday, whatever, Mother's Day, I take them to the ceramic place, and they make ceramics, I love you, Mom mug, which I know means more than anything to her, and plates and their handprints and all that kind of stuff, so that they're really aware of what they're doing and they create it themselves.
In Judaism, you're obligated to teach your child how to swim. It used to be a boat culture. In ancient times, you traveled by boat, not by plane. And so if they fell off the boat, they could swim. But you're obligated to teach them to swim. And the greatest reward of a parent is when their children's children know how to swim. It's when you've taught, it's not that you've taught your children how to parent, but it's when you've taught them how to parent.
And you see the benefit.
And you see the
Trivia today about Judaism. I did not know that. So you're circumcised on the 5th day. And
Eighth day.
I'm learning, and then you learn how to swim.
That's what you're obligated to teach them.
It's all about survival and living well.
Yes.
And you live well when you give back.
That's absolutely true.
You live longer, too. Okay, coming up, we've got a young woman who experienced heartbreak trying to have a baby. Then the unimaginable happened. And later, we're going to find out how the great music of John Lennon is still changing our world.
All the people living life in peace.
We've been asking the question, how far are you willing to go to help somebody else? Well, as a mom, I'm especially moved by the story. I loved the story when I first heard about it and really wanted to do it. Sapna was a very happily married young woman, anxious, of course, to start a family. Then she found herself facing a devastating obstacle. Just check this out.
I've always wanted to get married as a young girl, and luckily at 17 I met my soulmate. We dated for 7 years, and as a female you think you get married, get a house, a beautiful house, and have kids. And that's exactly what I was planning on doing. Back in 1999, 2 months before I was getting married, the doctor told me you're gonna probably have miscarriages. If you do end up carrying a baby, you might have a premature baby. Was I a good baby, or?
You were a good baby, but a colicky baby. You look so
Very, very young. I look like a teenager in that picture. I do. Needless to say, we tried and tried and tried, and in a span of 3 years, I had 4 devastating miscarriages, and I lost my hope, I lost my faith.
Seeing her wanting to have a kid so bad, and seeing how it affected her life in such a negative way through all the physical stuff she had to go through and emotional stuff was very tough.
That's when I decided, I cannot see her suffer emotionally and mentally and physically, because, it hurt me as much as it hurt her.
We tried for many years to have a baby, and even though the odds were against us, on September 22nd, our impossible became a miracle. Our beautiful baby boy Cyrus was born. Cyrus is definitely a miracle. I don't even know how to explain it. To me, he is my life. And I'm just so blessed to have him here.
They're crying already. Please welcome Sapna and her mom, Ruby. Bless your heart. You're gonna be okay? But it wasn't the stork that brought your baby. What happened?
Well, we're here to celebrate the gift of life, and my mom gave me the best gift in the world. She was my surrogate, and she carried my baby at age 54.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, actually, in 1999, I was diagnosed with lupus. In addition to that, I had a blood clotting disorder. The doctors told me that I could try to have a baby, may never be able to carry a baby to term, but I was determined. You know, being a female, you want to carry your own child.
Of course.
So after 4 miscarriages, I lost my hope, my faith. I was devastated. I couldn't go to any baby showers. I couldn't see people.
Did you feel like a failure?
Definitely.
I have some friends in this situation. They always say they feel like a failure. They feel like they're not feminine and.
Well, you think you're a female, you can carry your own child.
Exactly.
So after going through all that, I was devastated, and my mom decided to carry my child. And initially, I thought it was strange. I have to be honest. But you know what? Here we are, and celebrating my baby boy, Cyrus, and I'm so blessed, and
he's
I
gorgeous
just love her so
too.
much.
Oh. You were 54 years old.
Yes.
So you were menopausal?
Yes.
And they gave you hormone shots, and that's how you...
I had to reverse the menopausal.
So let me get this straight. It was your egg, and it was fertilized in vitro.
Correct.
And then they implanted it, and you carried what was essentially your grandchild for 9 months.
Yes.
And did you guys feel real close during that period?
We've always been close, always. More like friends than even daughter and mother. So yeah, this made us closer, yes, definitely.
And you also had complications.
Yes.
It was hard for you.
Yes, it was hard for me.
You had to leave your job and all that.
Yes.
Yeah, she had complications. You know, she had high blood pressure, and she did this all for me. It was a selfless act. And on September 22nd, we had our baby boy, but she did it all for me.
What was this weird thing I heard about? You said you had palm reader told you that you were going to have
3 children, and I only had 2. My oldest is 26, so of course I was not going to have another one. And here I am carrying my grandchild, and I'm saying, oh my God, the palm reader was right. I'm carrying a child. It's like my own, you know.
This is bizarre.
It is bizarre.
I mean, this very unusual stuff. Well, it's so obvious how Sapna is grateful to her mom, Ruby, for carrying her baby, giving her the gift of life twice, virtually. But how does her husband feel about the fact that his mother-in-law gave birth to his son? Ooh, I can't wait to find out about this. Coming up. One of the most unusual stories of giving I've ever heard. Sapna had been trying for years in vain to have a family and was absolutely heartbroken. And you said you even had 4 miscarriages. And then she discovered she had a medical condition that was going to keep her from ever having a baby. That's when her mom stepped in. Ruby offered to be the surrogate and then ultimately, of course, gave birth to a very healthy boy. But how did Ruby's son-in-law feel about this extraordinary gesture? Well, he's here to tell us. Welcome, Sonny.
Thank you.
I know we hear all the mother-in-law jokes, and were you teased a whole lot? What did you think?
You know, it was interesting because when my mother-in-law told us initially that she was willing to do that for us, at first my wife and I were like, yeah, that's kind of last option. Let's maybe we'll adopt the Chinese baby first. But it went a while. But then, you know, when it came down to it, I was really excited, but obviously I was pretty scared because I knew there would be some interesting comments. She's obviously a really attractive woman, so a lot of my friends were like, wow, you got to impregnate your mother-in-law.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I had to explain it to them a lot more. I'm saying, nah, it was more of a cup. It wasn't really, there was nothing glamorous about it, you know, at the end of the day.
It's actually very technical, very medical.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So, you know, it was initially, but then at the end of the day, you know, everybody's been so supportive. My friends have been supportive, and they all realized that she really gave us the ultimate gift. And, you know, from my standpoint, it's, you know, looking at my wife, how it's changed her tremendously, it's probably been the biggest thing for me because she was so unhappy for a number of years. You know, and
so you're seeing
it was hard. It was really hard not, you know, seeing people have babies, and I couldn't carry my own child. I'm sorry, and you know,
you're allowed.
I'm so grateful for my mom to do this for me, and my son's 10 weeks old today, and I'm so happy. The happiest I've ever been.
So it changed you too?
Yeah, it
Has
really
it changed your relationship at all?
I think it has, you know, because once again, you know, when you're in a marriage, it's important for both people to be happy. And she carried the brunt of a lot of the emotional aspects of it. Being a male, and you know, it was hard for me too, but it was really hard seeing her go through all the ups and downs of the miscarriage and so forth. So now that this has happened, I've just seen how much more complete she is as a person. You know, she works hard taking care of the baby, and she's really tired, and she even gets some flare-ups sometimes, but she's always got a smile on her face because she feels like this is what she's wanted for so long, and she's finally got it.
I really couldn't imagine never being a mom, and I'm so glad that I, you know, can experience parenthood. It changes you, and I feel so complete.
How did it change your relationship with Ruby?
It's made us a lot closer. You know, I think, you know, they've always been like, she's always been like a mom to me anyways. But,
really?
Yeah, I'm pretty fortunate that I have a great mother-in-law. I have like 2 moms. And it's only made us closer, you know?
I tell you, this gives a whole new layer to the thing about a close family. My goodness, would you like to have more?
Yes.
Uh-oh, Ruby. You're 55 now.
But unfortunately, because my mom had complications, you know, it's, medically speaking, it's not, you know, going to be a good thing for her to do it again.
So you're going to do a Chinese baby?
No, I have several cousins lined up to do it. In fact, they were kind of upset with me that I didn't ask them to be the surrogate when they found out. I have a great family.
So you've got volunteers now?
Yeah.
Okay,
they're
so
lined up.
you're going to have another child, but you're going to get a cousin.
Yes.
Your cousin.
Yes, my cousin.
Okay.
So we're going to do it early next year and make our family complete, and we're going to do it again. Have Cyrus have a little brother or sister.
Do you think that you'll tell Cyrus?
Oh, absolutely.
You will?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a scrapbook. The baby shower, my mom's the one pregnant. I'm the one standing there. I'm going to share this with him. I think it's such a great gift. He's going to have a wonderful bond with his grandmother. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of it. I mean, my mom, look what she gave me, you know? And,
it
being a
makes
parent
perfect
now,
sense.
Yeah, being a parent now, I know what I would give to my own child. I would do anything for my child.
Now, Sonny, I understand that you've got something you want to say to Ruby.
I do. So I just want to say, you know, obviously you both are probably the most important ladies in my life. And as a token of my appreciation and some of the help of the show, we've actually have a really wonderful gift for you guys. All-inclusive, paid 4 nights, I believe, at the wonderful Canyon Ranch Spa.
Canyon Ranch. Thank you. These two ladies definitely deserve a break. They need a getaway.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you, on behalf of the studio.
Thank you. Can we have more? Thank you
wow,
so much.
what a story. I mean,
Thank you.
I don't know how we're going to top a show about giving after this story. Thank you again.
Thank
really.
you.
Thank you very much.
Up next, what do 2 women from completely different parts of the country and different lifestyles, Hurricane Katrina victims and kitchen appliances, have in common? You're going to see next an interesting story, real life story about hope. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, one of our most persistent and urgent questions is, what are you doing for others? Well, our guests today are showing us how even the most random, unprovoked act of generosity can give a lasting effect to both the giver and the receiver. Our next story is about two women who volunteered for the Red Cross in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. They didn't go down to New Orleans with a big plan in mind, but as you'll see, they became completely engaged because they were open. And then they turned their simple desire to help somebody else into a very passionate mission. This is a great story.
I don't think I knew what grace was until I started working in Mississippi. They had so little, and they always wanted to know how I was doing.
I was actually driving down the road in Hamilton, Montana on my way to Missoula, and I heard on the radio a plea from the Red Cross asking for volunteers. And I thought, boy, I hope a lot of people respond to that. And then I thought, you know, I should probably do that. Everything that's happened since then, I feel like I'm just kind of following the path.
I was living in New Hampshire when I also heard about Katrina and knew they needed a lot of help down here. Came down and worked for what I thought would be 3 weeks, and it lasted a little bit longer. It was horrible. People were living in tents on their lawn. We were feeding people living in their cars, dolls on top of refrigerators, clothes, furniture, just lives in ruin, mile after mile after mile.
Miss Sue swam in the hurricane. She was in 30, 35-foot seas.
We all managed to get into that top window right there where the attic was. That is the only thing that saved us.
And actually, she lost her dog.
He was the only casualty. He died the following day.
All right, no worries, no worries. How do we meet? Well,
was it in the parking lot?
It was in the parking lot.
We're talking about what our experiences was down here so far.
We're just real in-your-face aggressive women in general, and we decided we can do more than this. It's the little things, but they're pretty big when you don't have them, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And then Mississippi Home Again took on its own life. It's much bigger than we are, and the need is much bigger than we are.
I appreciate it.
We are a nonprofit organization, and we raise money from people sending in their $10 donations and $1,000 donations. We use all of those donations to buy refrigerators, stoves, hot water heaters, washers, dryers, and beds. For those people who they just don't have the means to replace them. They lost them all to Katrina.
Yeah? Hey, girl.
Hey, how's it going?
This is the hub, the MHA hub, the Action Center. This is where we do all of our internet work, all of our computer work, all of our grant writing, all of our printing, faxing, cooking.
Tam, when you get a chance, I've got all the receipts here for the appliances we bought last night, and if we can match the client names to them, that I can get that all set for the books. So you're almost back to normal, huh?
Nah, I don't know.
No? A lot of people were made poor by the storm, and even those who made out kind of okay 4, 5, 6 months after the storm, they're poor now.
As normal as you were before Katrina.
The problem is huge down here, but the solution is really, really simple.
God, thank you so much, Karen.
You're welcome.
Just take care of each other. We need to do a lot better job taking care of each other.
Every time I get around her, she makes me cry.
This has been a godsend for Mississippi in Jackson County. It was like two angels were dropped in my front yard, and they were so sweet, and they have their hearts are this big around. Hey, where y'all going?
Miss Delinda, she's fantastic. She and her husband rode out the storm here. And then when we were looking for a headquarters to really set up and dig in here, she said, come move in here.
Bye-bye. Y'all have a good day.
Good to see you. Got good news for you today.
What?
Well, I got a washer and dryer and a bed for you.
Hello, Miss Nellie. All right. Oh, wonderful.
People love the direct style relief. They like the fact that their money isn't necessarily being handed out as money, it's being handed out for these appliances.
I don't have to go to Pascagoula anymore to do my laundry.
stay home, you're going to get in the way was the message that was given for a long time. The truth is, the need is so great, we will never have enough volunteers down here. Every volunteer brings hope.
Were you here or did you evacuate?
No, we were here.
You were here? Well, then you got a story. Why am I still here? The thing that first pops into my mind is because it's not time to leave.
I always have trouble with that question, but I'm here just because it feels right. It's just the best job I've ever had. The rest of the country wants you to be able to put your house together for your family.
There is no way that you can come down here and respond with your brain and be effective. The only way to be effective down here is to respond with your heart.
There you go. I appreciate that.
It's still in my heart, it's still in my mind, it's still what I need to be doing, and so I'm doing it.
You're always sitting here, nodding your head. Of course, Dr. Dale Atkins, Rabbi Sherre Hirsch. You responded to the thing that said you act with your heart instead of your head.
Because it's all an act from your heart. Your heart has to be open, and you never know what you're going to find. But if your heart's not open, you won't allow it in, and that will guide you. It will guide you in your life, and it will take you to do what is your purpose. And this is their purpose. And we all have a purpose. We just have to pay attention.
What was so cute about, remember the first story, the boy had music.
Yes.
I'm telling you, everybody has something. He followed his passion. Music made him feel connected and important and all that. Some people have, I had a friend who went down because they love dogs. They love pets, and they worked with rescuing animals in Katrina.
Well, Naomi, I think it is human nature to want to help others. I think we think that we want to do everything for ourselves, but I asked my congregants, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do? And you would think that they would say, I'd buy myself a house and a car and this. Almost 99% of the time, they say, I would buy my mother a house. I would send a kid to college. I would help the victims of Katrina. I helped those in the tsunami. It's human nature to want to reach out because we want to connect. And I think they discovered that. I went down to Katrina, to Louisiana, because my husband's from there, right after Hurricane Katrina hit. And just being there and bringing back that energy to my synagogue led other people to go because it is your best self. And it is, the minute you do something, it inspires others as well.
That's right. And you have a very rich synagogue being in Beverly Hills. Do you think these people, what?
That's a terrible thing
you
to
can
say. Do you know
anything
what?
you
I have a
want
very
here.
generous synagogue in Beverly
Okay,
Hills.
well, that's my question. Do you think these people are happy?
Absolutely. I think people that give of themselves and have been successful and have an opportunity to give it away, whether through service or through financial, can be very happy.
Okay.
I don't think that necessarily takes away their happiness.
Okay.
Everything is about balance.
Well, yeah.
It's all about balance. And if you are able to take care of yourself, you then have an obligation and you take care of other people.
Yeah, they
And
say if you have the basics in life, but then after $50,000 or $60,000, the money doesn't matter that much.
Well, I think Ted Turner has 20 billion, and he's given away $1 billion. So, so he's got another 19 billion to go.
I mean, personally, I don't own a diamond. I'd rather have a tree. I'm just so non-materialistic, and I'm always wary of people that are way up in the big figures like him. Are they happy? Are they fulfilled, do you think? Are they given enough?
You know, I think the issue is we never know what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes.
Sure.
But I really believe that if we're talking about, if each of us can wake up in the morning, and say, what can I do to make this world a better place? Then, no matter how much money you have or how little money you have, you can do it. And that is really your goal. Every day, what can I do to improve this world?
Well, and I would phrase it even, Dale, do good service in the eyes of God.
There you go. Make sure it's coming from the right place. Well, do you remember that idealistic John Lennon song, Imagine? When we come back, we're going to find out how celebrities are coming together to make his vision become an actual reality. well done. Boy, I tell you, as a songwriter, if there's one song I wish I'd written, it was Imagine. John Lennon's song, Imagine, of course, was written with a vision and a concern for the future. Amnesty International is the world's largest grassroots human rights group. And they recently joined forces with his widow, Yoko Ono, in the celebrity community, and a new campaign called Make Some Noise to help bring more awareness to human rights issues. With us today is Director of Human Rights Education for Amnesty International, long title, Karen Robinson. Tell me what this campaign is.
Sure. We are a grassroots organization. We are made up of people everywhere, all over the world. And after 9/11, we had a meeting with a bunch of folks to try to figure out what it is that we as an organization can do. How do we respond to this? How do we engage with this? And at the table was the actor Gabriel Byrne. And his niece went to school in Lower Manhattan, and they'd sung the song Imagine. And it just really struck a chord with all of us around the table that, you know what, that's what we can do post 9/11. And so we contacted Yoko. And initially,
you just call her up on the phone?
We just called her up. No, Gabriel Burns, you know, he has connections.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he called, actually. He connected with her and just posed this idea, you know, what about if the world we imagined was a world where human rights were realized, where everyone lived in dignity, and she loved the idea. So we started on this campaign to really bring Imagine to life. And Yoko actually loved the idea so much, and it's been so exciting and so engaging that she's actually given us the right to his whole songbook. And we have
big bucks.
Big, amazing songs. You know, I mean, Imagine is one of so many that the visionary man created. So we have major songwriters recording these songs in their own ways. We Imagine was recently recorded by Willie Nelson and Jack Johnson, and the other names to be released soon. But it really is inspiring because, you know, their celebrity and their voice really takes us to a place that, you know, that we need to be, where people step back and say, well, what is this world that I imagine? You know, and we work with a number of celebrities. We work with George Clooney and Jennifer Connelly and Don Cheadle, and the list goes on and on. Your daughter, we worked with on violence against women and issues around AIDS.
Ashley. Well, actually, Winona's involved in AIDS stuff, too. One of the things that I tell Wyatt and Ashley is we've been talking earlier in the show about you can write a check, you can show up and unpack boxes or whatever, like with Hurricane Katrina and stuff. But one of the things that celebrities have as a currency is their image. And I'm always proud when I see celebrities giving their image, because sometimes that can be pretty priceless.
Well, it's huge, you know, because they, you know, particularly when they really get it, which so many of them do now, they understand that that they have a power that's unique, you know, because of media, because of just the way our culture is, and not just here in the United States, but globally.
That way.
Yeah,
art has always been such a social lubricant.
Yeah, and it's
Can
really.
I say that on TV? Well, okay.
And it's but it's inspiring because they've got it, you know, and they send the message whether through PSAs or through song, which, you know, Amnesty's
public service announcement.
Public service announcement. Yeah, sorry. But you know, our symbol is the candle, and that's about keeping the light. But we can't just keep the light, we have to make noise.
As they say, it's better to light a candle than curse the darkness. I want to see another PSA.
That would be great.
Imagine all the people living life in peace.
Human rights. What a nice phrase. Good for you. See the work you're doing?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I bet you sleep good at night.
I absolutely do. I have 2 young daughters too, and it's, you know, when you see those young children.
And you're leading them by example.
You know, the world is a precious thing, and every one of us in it is really precious, and we need to do what we can.
I'm going to throw another quote at you because I feel like it. I'm thinking of what Gandhi said. You must be the change you expect to see in the world, and that's what you're doing.
That's what we're doing.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good work. Thanks. Good stuff. See, there are good people out in the world. I get despairing when I see the 6 o'clock news and the headlines and everything. Then I meet people like you, Karen, and I go, yes, there's hope, there's hope.
Yeah, there are a lot of good people, and you know what? We can all join it, right?
We're all in this together, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Well, coming up next, can you ever give too much of yourself and have it backfire on you? I don't know. Coming up next. Now, if you have a subject that you want to hear from us, come on, tell us about it. Don't be afraid, cat. Visit faithstreams.com, click on our message board, and tell us what you want to hear from us.
Hi, I'm Timberly Whitfield. I hope you're enjoying Naomi's New Morning. Why not join us Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. on New Morning Weekday? You'll hear great stories of inspiration and meet interesting people who will help you get your morning off to a great start.
Back with Dr. Dale and Rabbi Sherre, and I just tease that sometimes giving can backfire, because you told me a story about
Once in a while, you can give too much. I reached out to a blind man once, and he swapped my hand, and he said, never touch me without my permission. It was very hard, because I thought I was being so generous, and you know what? Sometimes it does come back to hit you in the face, but it didn't stop me. I think when in doubt, still give.
But the lesson there is the next time you see someone who has a visual impairment, you'll say, is there a way I can be helpful?
Permission.
And then you may be able to, the person will say yes or no.
Right.
So you still help. You just learn from each experience. You integrate it. And you know, there's something I wanted to say. These stories were so inspiring. It was so amazing. Everybody can do something in a small way every day. And
yeah, I mean,
you know,
that's a good point, because we're talking about big things, big events, big organizations.
Right, you don't have to be a celebrity, you don't have to be famous, you don't have to be super rich. You just have to be you.
Yes, but and hopefully the best you that you can be. So you want to be nice to your kid's teacher. You want to be caring, and when someone is having a little trouble with the door, you don't let the door slam. You hold the door. So you're 2 seconds late. You have helped someone, and these are the kinds of things that make your life better every moment of the day. And you don't have to be, you know, you don't have to you're saving the world that way by doing something wonderful each day.
Have you ever tipped the grocery bag clerk?
Yep.
By doing that, you make their day. Or in Los Angeles, if you let the car in front of you go ahead, that's historic, because nobody lets anybody go in front.
I think you get an Academy Award for that.
Well, I know your husband's such a good guy that he always pays the toll for the car behind him. Right. And Joyce, our producer, I'm going to tell on Joyce. There she is. She's giggling. She was working on this story, so when she went to get her Starbucks cup of coffee, she paid for the. Didn't it make you feel good? I feel great. And who knows, you know, that person, then what that's going to trigger in them.
It can be very small, very subtle. You don't need to change the whole world. You just need to do one subtle thing each single day, but you don't have to be magnanimous.
I always felt strongly about acknowledging people, whether it's the guy that brings us our, Johnny, I'm going to say everybody's names today, that brings us our water. Just acknowledging that there are people around you. We're all in this thing together.
Yeah. You know, it goes back to the first story where the person, the man felt kind of like invisible. And we all have to be acknowledged, and we all have to be appreciated. And I think that when you allow someone to know that they are valuable, you are giving them.
That you even notice them.
That's right. And that's the gift. The gift is that you give them something that adds value because you are acknowledging them, and then that person will probably do something. It's you know, a domino effect.
I have to add one thing. In Judaism, you thank God every day, and the way you thank God is by reaching out to another person.
Yep.
Because
That's
we
the
are all
Christian
responsible
faith,
one
too.
for the other.
It's all about deeds, not just words. Well, as always, I want to acknowledge and
Naomi.
appreciate Dr. Dale Atkins and Sherre Hirsch, and indeed all of our guests on today's show who prove with their lives and their actions that service is the work of the soul. And you know, there's always a present, you just said, Sherre, that you can give, and that's your own presence, whether it's through just attentive listening, or a hug, a smile. I say GIVE stands for generosity in various expressions. I hope you have a wonderful day today. Come back and see us again next week. I'm Naomi Judd, and remember, my door is always open, my mind is never closed, and there's always, always room for you here at our table. Naomi here. Coming up next week, a star reporter wounded in Iraq battles to begin a new life. Meet him next time, right here on Naomi's New Morning.